And a very good evening, everybody, and a very warm welcome to a Lyceum evening, coming to you from the Paul Spiritualist Church down on the south coast of the UK. We have a beautiful, beautiful guest with us tonight, and I'm not talking about the gentleman here. I'm talking about the lovely lady, Cathy Lee Tsoukalas. Forgive me. Cathy Lee Tsoukalas. I also have with me tonight Mr. Paul Beauchamp.
Good evening.
Who he's working here this weekend at Paul Church, and trains today caused a little bit of a delay. So bless him, he's only arrived like 10 minutes ago. He's had dinner thrown at him, and now he's down here. So thank you, Paul.
That's all right.
And thank you, Cathy. Big welcome to everybody joining us, whether you are watching us tonight live or in the future on a catch-up. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, we always welcome questions, which you can type into the comments box during the course of the evening. Remember what I always say, no question is daft, all right? Nobody got to where they are without asking questions. And if you need to ask it because you don't know the answer, that makes it a very valid question. So please don't think, oh, I can't ask that. All right. But anyway, Cathy, enough of the introduction. Over to you, wonderful, wonderful lady. We'd like to hear how did your spiritual journey start, please?
Well, before finding spiritualism, I was on a variety of different paths, exploring, like you do.
Yeah.
I was raised as Church of England, but then after then I sort of looked at shamanism and other areas, until I would say my father passed, as usually happens, and that was probably 2011, and I needed something more, so I went looking on the internet, as you do, and eventually I found myself on the SNUI. And I've actually been there ever since. And that's where that's where all my understanding and my learning has really 99% has come from being on the SNUI, because there's nothing here. I'm in Athens in Greece. There's absolutely nothing. So if there wasn't the SNUI, I wouldn't be doing the things I am today. I wouldn't be involved in spiritualism. That's really where it's at.
Brilliant. And it's just a reminder for a lot of people watching as well. Obviously, 2020 happened and a lot of our work switched to online. This online phenomenon seemed to get born. But the SNUI were going for 10 years pre
2009.
2009.
Yes, it's been
some
time. And I was there from maybe 2012, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the virtual form of spiritualism isn't new. Maybe new to us, but it isn't new and working incredibly well. Now, your artistry, Cathy, I have gone through your website and I just absolutely adore it. And I'm not saying that because you're here or whatever. I say what I feel. And I absolutely adore it because we've got a couple of examples hanging here in the Church of Spirit Art, and you can tell there is this life in them. There is this personality with them. We go back to Coral Polge and some of the pictures and portraits that she produced. Again, you've got that essence of people. It's just such a gift. Now, we did speak a little bit earlier before we went live and said about any formal training. So if you'd just like to fill in those watching.
Well, I've always, from a small child, I've always drawn people's faces. You're either good at landscapes or you're good at people, and I've always been much better at drawing people than I am landscapes. So I just loved drawing as a child. There wasn't the video games and the things that there are to now. So I would spend a lot of time drawing, and I enjoy drawing. It's relaxing as well. I did go to a school for from about 13 to 16, that kind of age, or 15, 3 years for a school, which I think is now extinct, for children that were talented in art. So I went there. It was a normal school as well. She had a normal curriculum, but different things, because you had fashion rather than just normal sewing. And you had the pottery making and on all this sort of thing. So that was a nice experience, but I decided not to continue with that, because I also did dancing. And that was and when you're 16, it's much more exciting to think of training to be a dancer than it is to think of being a hungry, starving artist, eating crusts of bread. So there was no question. And I always thought, oh, I can do the art later, as you do, So, but it took quite a long time to get back to it. There was about 20 years when I didn't do anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still there, even though I haven't done anything, because I came over here, I got married, had children, and it was still there, and in some ways it had improved because I'd matured.
Yeah.
In that time, although I'd not done any drawing at all, the actual work had improved. But I've always had this passion for drawing faces. I mean, I love drawing from photographs and things like that, which is how I would do the oil paintings that I do. And that sometimes they can take me years. I mean, it could take me maybe 3 months. I'm not exactly very quick, which is why it's interesting now finding myself doing spirit portraits, because of course when you're doing those and you're doing those live, you've only got a certain amount of time to be able to do it. So like normally it would take me 15 minutes to do one. Whereas if I was working with somebody else, of course you can do it quicker. But I prefer the energy of when I'm working under my own power than working with somebody else, if you know what I mean.
So you're relaying the message whilst drawing it.
So I will be giving the evidence and drawing at the same time.
Wow.
And I prefer. I enjoy doing. I mean, I sort of think beforehand, because you always get nervous, don't you? I feel like an expectant father, at least a week beforehand. But when I'm actually doing it, I enjoy it, because of course you're in the energy, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. Brilliant.
Spirit. So yeah.
I sorry.
Go on, no. Oh.
Yeah. I absolutely adore that, because you touch on something there which has been going around the ether for the last month or so when we're talking about energies, and this thing about whatever your mediumship unfolds as, before you go to demonstrate it. I don't know if you agree. If you don't agree, you're sleeping in the garden.
Be careful here.
But however your mediumship is demonstrated, we do get nervous.
Absolutely. Terrifying.
We do. People look at us once we're up there and going, "Oh, that's easy." And beforehand, you're begging the chairman, saying, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Oh yeah, and it never goes away.
But yeah, that is just so interesting. But as I said, in your artwork, there is so much expression in there. And something else you said there, when you came back to it after all that time, that break, it had improved.
Yeah.
Now I find that fascinating. I find everything fascinating, but I find that fascinating as well, because it's true, isn't it? When we're 20, we're looking with the eyes of a 20-year-old. Yeah. It's the blingy things, the sexy things, and all that catches our eye. But as we start to fully unfold into the real us, of course, we look at things with that different eye, don't we? We look at people with a different eye. We look at nature and everything with just that more understanding, and going, yeah, I get that. I understand that. That's beautifully put. Thank you. As I said, going back, there was Coral Polge, who there are a number of recordings of her working with Gordon Higginson.
Mm.
Is that
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
was the old overhead projectors. You know,
Yeah.
screen, and
School.
it shone up on there. And they
Yeah.
were hot, those things. I mean, poor old Cora, by the end of the day, she must have had a tan because they were so hot, those things. And to be there leaning over it for an hour and a half, drawing away, my goodness, that must have been really physically demanding on it. I mean, thank goodness today for digital art and for our live demonstrations. You've just finished with an online course with the SNUI. Am I correct in saying that?
I've been teaching on the SNUI for about 10 years.
Okay. Yeah.
Doing and I still have sessions on now. I don't have quite as many as I did because there comes a time when you have to think of your own development. And what tended to happen, I was doing so many classes that there is no time left for you, which sounds selfish, but we have a responsibility for our own development as well, don't you? So I probably have maybe 2-3 a month now. One time that I used to have one almost every day. You know, it was a bit ridiculous, but yeah. So I still do have sessions on, you know, because of course there are people that come and there needs to be somewhere for beginners. You know, for people that are interested in, because I mean, I always say you don't have to be an artist to do spirit portraits, but anything that you can do will be helpful to you, but particularly if you're going in the area and wanting to get some kind of recognition with a photograph. It's a question of having the tools. And so I've had a class on also for about 10 years just for technique, because although it's not a portrait, the idea is so that the student will understand how to draw a face. Might not be a perfect face, but know approximately where the eyes, nose, and mouth are. I think Coral Polge did something with an egg, which an artist generally, I think, use this. And where to put your eyes, your nose, and your mouth, because that does help. I mean, the reason I brought it in, because a lot of the spirit portraits I was seeing in the sessions were done in pastels, which is beautiful. Pastels are beautiful, and it's very ethereal. But that was it, and they were it. You can kind of hide the lack of skill, if you like, with pastels because it's less accurate. But if you're looking for that recognition, it actually, even if you draw stickmen, because I have had students that start off drawing stickmen, you can still get the evidence there in the way that they draw, a bit like the type of hat they wear and things like that. You know, it's really quite interesting to see, you know, to see how people can develop. But I must admit, it is a passion with me. The faces, the spirit, and I find that the more I'm doing it, it's evolving, because I'm not particularly clairvoyant, I'm clairsentient. So when I'm not seeing them stood there, I've never seen one, well, a spirit person stood there. So I'm feeling, and I haven't a clue who is going to come through until they start to appear on the paper.
Okay.
So I'm aware spirit is with me, because you can feel the energy, can't you? And as I begin, then they step closer, and that's the way that it works for me. But when you're teaching this to other people, or trying to help people, I can't say to people you have to do it my way. It's because it's just like mediumship. It depends how you work, and so I like to allow people to do it their way. You're not trying and force anything on, because I am quite a softie, you know, with classes and things. I'm not mean. I'm not really mean to people. You know,
you don't look mean.
I like to build people up rather than knock them down, because you need the confidence to be able to do it. And I've only really been doing demonstrations like in the public, but I think of like online in the public, really since COVID. You know, quite simply, there wasn't any. I started, as I said, probably about 2012. Got really more into it like 2013, but there wasn't then. But there wasn't anywhere for me to do it. And at that time, I didn't have the confidence. Of course, we didn't have Zoom then either. To take it out into the big bad world. No, I'm not doing that. So it's really only in the past few years that I've kind of been brave enough to sort of step off the SNUI and try it, on different places, and it's nice, because every place has their own energy, doesn't it? Their own personality. So I mean that's helpful. That's why I consider, as we are, we're always developing. And the way that I'm working is developing, and the portraits are developing. So it's an ongoing thing with it.
Lovely. A few things you said. I do love you love working with beginners, and that is just, yes, we can see. There's classes for. I'm still struggling with the language that we use, an intermediate and advanced. So what is an intermediate medium? I still haven't figured that out. But yeah, beginners to encourage, because it's not just, 2020 happened. We didn't want it, but it has. But we can make what comes out of it turn to good. And part of the reinvention, no, that's the wrong word. Part of the public awareness about spirit art has come in because of the access we have now in the virtual world. But there's other areas for spirit arts. I'm saying it's spirit art, correct me if I'm wrong, but we can look at autographs as part of the spirit art side of it. Do you have any experience with them or anything?
Yeah, I've got some on the website. I actually uploaded some today. I put a section on for autographs. Actually, I kind of call them soul graphs. Because kind of going more in what I think of as spiritual connection rather than psychic. I never consider myself very good at psychic things.
Fair enough.
But that's why I call them soul graphs, and
they can be so telling as well. There was a lady back in the 1800s, Georgina Horton, and her autographs are so incredibly detailed. And you see the pictures, and she was actually using planchettes to guide. And when you actually see the finished article, you're like, wow. And within that article is so many points of reference for the reading to unfold as well. So, let's just say to people, anybody listening, whether now or later, just because if you say to yourself, I can't draw a face, well, guess what? You can draw a face because you've just told yourself that.
Yeah.
But there are other avenues. And autographs, I was introduced to them a couple of years back, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't draw, so this is going to be awful. But something happened, and I went, wow.
You get inspired, don't you? When you're doing it, you get inspired, and that's that spirit working with you.
Yeah, definitely. And there's another area that it has been mentioned, but the context has been mentioned with has been a bit negative. But talking about precipitative art.
Oh yes, with the Bang sisters.
The Bang sisters. There we go. Took the words out of my mouth.
Started doing this.
That is something else. That this art. You see, please, anybody listening, I'm not being condescending or anything. To sit there with a pencil and say, "Come on, spirit, make me draw," may take a bit of time. Because it's about our development, and you touched on that point as well very nicely, and that's very much in the ether.
We can't leave it all up to spirit, can we?
No. The spirit did everything. Why are we here? Why do we bother coming here? If they're going to do everything for us, then there's no point in us being here. It's as simple as that. So we do need to get those fundamentals in, because every avenue you explore, no matter how your mediumship expresses itself, is hand in hand with your own unfoldment. And we had a conversation earlier, I said about, sometimes when we have trials and things in our life that we'd rather not have, well, we're here to learn. Not every lesson comes wrapped in bows and with puppies. Exactly. We have challenging times because that makes us grow. That makes us unfold. But yeah, sorry, I'm wandering off at a tangent here. I do apologise. But we're going back to... No, this is your evening. You should be talking. Okay, but shut up. I don't mind. If we just for a little while talk about autographs, because I'm sure there's a lot of people going, "What's that? What's that? Can I do that?" And I think yes, you can, because
that's the nice thing about autographs, is that you don't have to be able to draw a face for autographs. Okay, it may come into it, it may not. So it's completely is opened up to everybody, and it's a good place to start. And often people will start doing that, and then they start to get interested in the spirit portraits. But once they built the confidence, in one way, I mean, I must admit, it isn't something that I have done more probably in the past year than I've ever done of autographs, purely because I like doing faces. I'm very boring. I like doing faces, whether it's spirit portraits or ordinary portraits, and I've never been attracted to the psychic side of it, as I said, because that's associated with doing an autograph.
Yeah.
Because it really, it can be done, as you know, in both ways. Often people will do an autograph and they'll read the person, and because I don't feel that's a particular talent of mine, that's why I was never really interested. So that's why I thought, well, I'll try doing it my way, and that worked. And you end up doing a bit of both anyway. And as I say, we tell ourselves that we can't do it. Like I've for years I've told myself, oh, I can't do psychic work. Of course, with not having a church or anything like that, there wasn't actually anywhere to learn it. When I was beginning, I mean, it is a good place. I think I can see now, but it's a good place for beginners to start. But of course, I didn't have that, so I kind of leapt into the mediumship like you do, and struggled with that. And of course, when I started, I started typing. This is wandering into mediumship, but I started because we didn't have the voice then. It was online, and we only had typing. And of course, you were trying to give a message, and your heart to be going ba-dum, 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 and your hands would be shaking. And I could hardly type, and I can't type anyway. I can only type 2 fingers. So you can imagine how wonderful it was when they had the voice part, they had the microphone. And then, of course, now we've got the video as well. There's gone in stages what you can do with it, and I have no idea how I wandered onto that. I completely lost the thread of it. So come and rescue me! Come and rescue me!
No, that's fine. It's lovely to hear that, and this is so true as well. That we did, and funny enough, before we came in tonight, we were talking about both of us have had instances where we're typing something and looking at it and going, well, where did that come from? Seriously, where did that come from? But it just goes to show, doesn't it, the intelligence of spirit. And this is something that I'm very passionate to talk about. I'm very passionate for people to try and understand, because we are changing very much within our mediumship. We are realizing that we need, as mediums, to progress our work, not just get, I'm getting bookings, so there you go, I'm a medium. Happy days. If you're there and it suits you, absolutely great. But we have this opportunity, and now with the advent of so much different things online and meeting people, I mean, here at Paul, we've had people from Denmark, from Sweden. We've got people coming over from Holland, Scotland, all over the place. Oh, in fact, with the spiritist connection, we've had people from Brazil and San Diego being here and working, because suddenly we've got this new network of people to get involved. And of course, that's bound to impact on us as people. That expansion now, because, spiritualism, as I always say, the wonderful thing about spiritualism is its consistency. And we look at the world at the moment, and there's so much doubt, so much fear, so much worry, concern. There's so many things are popping up. If you do this, you'll be saved. If you follow me, you'll be saved. And they're just ephemeral, because they're there. They hold the attention for a short while, and then people just go, well, there's nothing there. Yeah. In spiritualism, we're always providing that evidential basis again and again and again. And the wonderful thing with the spirit art is not only have you got the communication on the go, and you can take that picture away. You take that picture away.
That's when because I'm limited to doing it online. That's why I always say to people that if you want me to send it to you, I'll polish it and send it to you. And also with the original, because I like to be able to give as much as I can to the spirit person that's come through, which I know I can't do that within the 15 minutes. And so to keep it authentic, I send them the original from the demonstration, and I will polish it and send it to them, by email, digitally, because so that they got something. From the one I did the other day, I think there's 2 people that contacted me, because unless they contact me, I don't know how to find them, the people. So if there's anybody out there that was a recipient the other night and hasn't emailed me, I've still got them in. I stick them on the easel and I sit there and look and think. And you think, oh yes, and I do it in between other things, and the event and add some colour to it. But it's kind of my gift to spirit, to do that. Because I know I can, and that makes people happier than if I just gave them what I can do within the demonstration.
Yeah.
But what you have to do, if you're doing that, you have to take a photograph of it, like with your camera, so that you don't deviate into something else.
Yeah.
So what you want to do is enhance it and make it fuller, more alive, and not alter it.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I know I've got the skill to be able to do that. That's why I like to try and do it.
Brilliant. There's a lovely comment here from Julie Caswell, and this is, this echoes beautifully with the sentiment. 3 pictures from Coral Polge. One of my great granddad nearly got thrown away. We had a lovely synchronicity as we came across his portrait by Coral. The same week, a photo of him was added to our online family tree. Well, that's no coincidence, isn't it? But isn't that wonderful? It's great when we have that message, when we have those nuggets come through. It's wonderful. It's that experience of the moment. We may take away the truth from that, but to actually have that picture and to be, constantly looking up and going, well, that was so and so, and that happened, and this happened. That really has an impact. So wonderful. Lovely Margaret Challenger. Good evening, Margaret, my darling. How are you in lovely sunny Wales? Yeah. Margaret's asking, hi Cathy, talking about the days you only had a voice on SNUI in comparison to now, and then has the energy changed or improved now you have a picture as well, or is it relatively the same?
I would say it's the same in that when I first started doing spirit portraits, I had to do them on a whiteboard, so I would be doing them digitally. That was way back in 2000. I think the first one is probably about 2012-13. That's the first. But I started drawing, and so of course, the energy that then for me was just the same, because I feel it's the mediumship link is where the energy is coming from, if that makes sense. Well, I mean, I know it's together with the drawing, that's an extension of it. But yeah, for me, it's just got better. Everything has got better. It's easier now because we have, you know, we have the video, and so I can come in a room twice and have like the easel up, and then there'll be another one with me on it, and so it makes it, as we were saying about personal, it makes it more personal. If people can actually, I mean, the important thing about the spirit portraits is people can see you while you're drawing it, or see the drawing unfolding before them. You know, so yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, Margaret. And so going back to the history with spirit art, it has always been such a prevalent presence. When we'd spend an awful lot of time talking about the greats of the past, and sometimes a little bit unfairly focusing on the greats and not looking for the greats of today. But as I said, I mentioned Georgina Horton going back 1814. But there was also an auragraphs. There was a medium called Harold Sharp, 1890 to 1980. And there's so many artists, and abstract art as well. Abstract art was inspired by a lot of spiritualists. And I'm going to struggle with the names: Vasily Kandinsky, Piet Mondrian, Kazimir Malevich, and I'm really not even going to tackle the last one. But it just goes again to show that spiritualism has the ability to have a profound effect within our society. And I'm not talking about people, you know, queuing up at the church doors. Well, please, that would be wonderful. But we're not talking about people queuing up at the church doors. We're talking about the effect further out into society. That I love that link there between the Impressionist paintings. A lot of them were spiritualists, so that inspiration came through to start that great movement. You know, and when the more you get involved in spiritualism and understanding a little bit better the ways of the spirit, you can see that hand at work. And I just think that is absolutely beautiful. And this is why, you know, people like yourself, and again, I'm not blowing smoke, I mean it. People like yourself, you have this, you've left this indelible mark now in history. Do you know that? I don't want to make you worry.
No.
You're lying in bed tonight going, oh my God, what have I done?
Posterity, yes.
It's always, you know, your website's fascinating.
Yeah, it's really just a gallery.
It's still
somewhere to put things, if you know what I mean.
People look at these things and draw inspiration. I did.
Well, I think all art is spiritual if it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I personally feel that all art has that spiritual quality, and that spirit helps us in that way. I mean, I would have said that before I came to spiritualism as well. And we think of the ancient Greek with the muses, you know, that they used to come and inspire the artists. And it's the same sort of thing. If the art is beautiful, I wouldn't say some of these things that look like tin cans are particularly spiritual. I must admit, I'm not terribly into the modern things. That I'm a bit old. I prefer Leonardo da Vinci. You know, he's more my type. You know, the classical masters. You know, that's kind of what inspires me, I would say.
Yeah, and it's true, isn't it? Because again, it's getting people this understanding. When we talk about the term of mediumship, it's how that mediumship expresses itself. And in the creative arts, I mean, it's just a joy to behold. Music is my go-to. Whatever mood I'm in, I will find that music to either support or drag me out of it. But again, you go back again and you can see that inspiration coming in that whisper in the ear to make something manifest. I do love classical music, and I do love the stories that each track tells. And when you know that story, you can go with it. You create this magical moment where you're there. But again, this is reflected in the art. You can stand in front of a few of the pieces up at the Tate and just timeless.
Mhm.
You just
yeah.
go.
Yeah. And when you're actually painting or drawing, you go into an altered perspective. You definitely, I know that I do. I'm sure everybody else does. That, when I have like students sat in the class, you can see them all. They're sort of drifting away. There's like this quiet concentration. When people are drawing, it's lovely to watch. I mean, some of them start going pulling the face if it's not going right, but it does. It's a wonderful. It's very therapeutic. Well, it is very therapeutic, because often people that have psychiatric problems, they're often given art to do, and you can see why. Because it's very healing in that sense. I think I find it like a form of self-healing to sort of immerse myself in it.
That is the basis of all expressions of mediumship, though, in my humble opinion.
Oh yeah.
It is healing. It is healing.
Definitely. Yeah.
So Julie Caswell again, bless her. Hilma Clint paintings were shown at the Tate Modern this year. Spiritual abstract artist created in a home circle. Wow.
There you go.
Wow. And what, Julie, was that actually told, that story, in the gallery, or is that because and done your research? But yeah, that's fascinating. Now, I'm not being flippant, and if you can just seriously, anytime you can just say "shut up, Lawrence." I really don't mind. In fact, a lot of the time I appreciate it, because this is going, and the brain's at the top going.
You can ramble away quite happily. I'll just go with the flow of it.
Yeah.
Recently, there's been quite a lot of the Banksy work appearing. Now, I find the simplicity of their work really just so easy on the eye, but also this message. We're talking about big societal messages being put across in that. And I was thinking the other day and just thought, I wonder, when he's doing this, is he tuning into something else there to get that message over? But again, it just shows the impact, because we've got so many generations now as well. And we need each generation to have their own voice, to have somebody that will say things to them that they can actually understand and actually take to and actually encompass into their life. But I just think that's another wonderful example of this inspiration to just, how marvelous is that, to get people thinking, agree or disagree with what they're saying. Yeah. You're actually thinking about
inspiration. Is, as you know, comes from spirit. And without the inspiration, there is no motivation.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that because I'm terribly lazy. Unless I feel motivated to do something, I won't do it. That has to be there. And what I find interesting from my experience, because this is not something I ever thought I would end up doing. It kind of happened, sort of, doing this spirit art in the way that I'm now doing it. Teaching it to other people. This is not something I ever planned, and I do feel that if spirit wants you to do it, then doors will automatically open, and that has kind of been what's happened with me, because I started teaching quite soon after I came to the SNUI rather. Not because of the people around me, I think, and obviously it's the people around us that support us and help us on our journey, isn't it? Because I mean, I didn't really know anything about spirit art, once it was realised that I had this capacity to draw faces, then I was definitely encouraged in it, and then I also find myself doing it. It's just something that happened.
That gentle push from spirit. They always knew.
but it's nice to be able to, I mean, I've had this ability like all my life, and I've never really been able to do anything what I think of as being worthwhile with it. Okay, I can draw nice portraits of family members and friends and things like that, but I've never really had a book that wasn't used. So I do feel with the spirit art that at last it's coming to be, that here is somewhere I can use this talent, to help other people. So that gives me a sense of fulfillment, because you sort of think, should I really be doing this? Like you do, and then spirit will let you know that whenever you sort of have had these moments, something will happen, and that to keep you, to reassure you and keep you going on the path that you're on, and that kind of, it seems to be happening with me. One of the other problems I find, well, I think any spirit artist would find generally, is that there is not an awful lot of opportunity for doing it, unless you go into private sittings, because it's not normally done in services. Although there are opportunities if you're just doing the mediumship. I don't mean to say just doing the mediumship, but you know what I mean. There are opportunities to do the mediumship, but it is a problem for spirit artists generally, which is why recently we've got something on the SNUI to give a little platform to the spirit artists that we have there. That the ones that have got a certificate in it, because it's you end up not having anywhere to do it, particularly if you're not in the UK. You haven't got a church, you haven't got the support of a church, you haven't got a circle. There's nothing. So it's, I suppose this latest thing on the SNUI was spirit led, because suddenly I woke up with it in the morning like you do. I woke up with this thought, this bee in my bonnet. I wonder if we could do that, and of course now it's happened, and it's and in this way we can share the spirit art with other people, because a lot of the problems is that people don't understand what spirit art is. And that they might go, they've never seen it before. They go to a demonstration, they'll be thinking, "Gosh, this medium's taken an awful long time to do this link." And it's really because you need about twice as long if you're working on your own to be able to do it. I mean, I keep hoping to get quicker. I mean, and I think you do. The more experience you have. I mean, I consider myself very young in it, but the more experience you have, then of course you do quicken up, I think. We hope. But yeah, and so people have to understand this when they come to see a spirit art demonstration, and also they're often what you will see a likeness. It's like you get recipients that think they're going to get 100%. And they will sit there like zombies and not say anything, and they won't. And really what happens is I feel it's a group effort, because as soon as somebody will step forward and can see that the evidence within the information, it might not be 100%. As soon as they step forward, then spirit steps forward. And the energy, it's all about the energy, as we were talking before, keeping that energy up.
Definitely. Interesting you're saying about the no platform for it. We had a lady we had a lady locally who was on her spirit art journey, and she used to come in over probably about 5 months, and she would just sit at the back of the church here. So during the service, she wasn't part of the service, but she would be drawing away. And then at the end of the service, anybody would go up there and have a look. But it enabled her to be here in the energy, part of the environment, and to get that practice in as well. And you could see it from when she first started to before she actually started doing it more out there and left the church. You could see that progress, and it was beautiful to see. Absolutely beautiful.
That spirit teaching, because they are working with you as you're doing the drawings.
She went from the classic, you know, if I drew a face, it would be like this.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
But when she left, we
Yeah.
got the profile and the features.
Yeah, you get the 3 quarters. Yeah, it's varying. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely fascinating. We had another spirit artist here, and she asked me to be the medium for her. I don't think I did very well. I always remember because I'm thinking I'm really not sure what I'm doing here, and I remember the first link was I had a lady step forward, and this artist suddenly went, "Well, I've got this gentleman," and I'm thinking, "Oh God!" But it did.
There has to be a rapport between if you're doing it with somebody else. There has to be a rapport with the person that you're doing it with. And I was told that when you're doing it, the spirit artist should start up first, and then the other one join in. But as I said, my experience of working with someone else is rather limited, because I discovered that I needed to do it on my own for the confidence as well. You know, otherwise, I don't know what you're like, but if I walk down the street with somebody, I don't look where I'm going.
Yeah.
I switch off, you see, because I'm walking with somebody else and you're chatting away too much, you know, and you could end up completely lost. And this is what would happen if I was working with somebody else. That you know the link for me was not the same. Whereas if I'm doing it by myself, you have to go all out, don't you? You have to completely step into it, you know, and off the edge is the pier sort of thing. And that is something that because I have to push myself to do things now and then, and so that's my way of doing it.
That makes perfect sense. We double demming, where mediums are sharing platforms and doing a double link on somebody. I mean, that is quite interesting in the evidential mediumship, because if I were to describe you, it would be different to the way Paul sees you.
Yeah.
So when you're doing the evidential side, it is quite interesting because you build up that little bit more of the character. But yeah, I can see that if you are there in the flow, but you're going to be conscious of the person saying things, and you're thinking, "Well, I'm not getting that." So yeah, that must be quite.
Yeah. As I said, I did try it with a very good friend, but it didn't work.
Tried it.
So I haven't done it since.
But no,
I discovered I preferred the energy to doing a public than to doing private sittings, because I tried that as well, like do, because the energy is so much better.
Yeah.
Because you have more people in the room, and that helps me. That helps lift. You know, it lifts everything. I find, because I would get just as nervous doing a private sitting as I would doing a dem.
Yeah, I get that. I get that, because would it be if you were to give a private sitting for somebody, that person would turn up with sort of like a queue of people in their head.
They have an idea. You can have an idea of who they want to come through, and of course, being sensitive as we are, we know that if this isn't the person that they want.
Yeah.
You want to please them, don't you? Want to give them what they want. But I mean, you're in a private sitting. For me, I'm limited to one person, which for me is harder in that sense. I've got to perform, but you know, in that sense, for this person, I've got to be able to give the goods for this one individual. Whereas if you have a room, you've got more people.
Yeah.
You know, within the room, so that there's more possibilities there.
And less of that pressure of
less pressure. Yeah, and the energy, you know, for me is better. I mean, all things like when you have the services and things, and when you have them, you have music beforehand often. And this again, because I was thinking about this the other day, and it's not just particularly just for the medium. It's also for the room, to acclimatise the room, to prepare it, you know, them as well, you know, the recipients as well, to get them in the mood for what is about to come. and you know that people don't tend to think of that, but it's because it isn't just the medium; it's the whole, isn't it? It's the whole the congregation as well. They're all parts of it.
Yeah. It's something I've been actively pushing here for quite some time now. Is talking to the congregation before we start the service and saying, you know, this experience today.
Yeah.
You know, please, you're not here watching Netflix. You're not here watching Disney Plus. You're part of it. And if even if one of you is missing, it'll be totally different. So embrace that and be in that presence, because this is, you know, I'm so passionate about getting people to understand the experience of the service and everything, the context, the prayers, the philosophy, the reading, the choice of music, as he's quite rightly said, the evidence,
everything,
the evidence,
everything. That's right.
But yeah, and it's just having that openness to being a vibrant part. Being a vibrant part. That service is not the performance of the people on the platform.
No.
That service is to bring everybody into that energy, everybody into that presence, that oneness.
Absolutely.
And just to share that for a time, because always people should be leaving our DEMs, our services, uplifted.
Feeling uplifted, yes.
That, you know, that is what we do.
Yeah.
Not come in, sit down, don't say anything, stand up, sing this hymn, sit down,
play on the phone,
put your money in the plate. I'll get out. Brilliant. Have you got any advice? Anybody out there thinking, it's interesting, what do I do? How would somebody out there watching either tonight or later, how would they start to explore? What any suggestions from the
I would say, come on the SNUI.
Well, there you go then.
The easiest thing, I mean, we have people from all over the world. That's that's the advantage. I mean, as I said, I wouldn't be here because I'm in Greece, and there's nothing here. So it's nice to do it with other people, like in a group setting. So it's not non-pressure. I mean, if people can't get to the SNUI, what you would do, you would practice sitting, depending on the mediumship side of things, how new they were to that as well, because as you know, it's the twofold thing. Yeah. The spirit art, in my opinion, is only as good as the mediumship, because it's the link. So it doesn't matter if you're a absolutely brilliant artist, if the link isn't there, you can't place the communication, can you? So that. But so that would be, if you have some experience, then they could attune to spirit and have a pen and paper nearby and just see what comes through. The way I do it when I'm online, if I have a group of them, I would start off with a short attunement, then I will play a short piece of suitable music. Nothing. The kind of relaxing, non-intrusive kind of music, just to get, so it's not like being in a library, and ask them to draw whoever the essence of the spirit person they've been joined by, is the way that I put it. And I leave them maybe 15, 20 minutes, and then we bring them back into the room, and then I invite them back into the room one at a time, and they show up the pictures like this. This is how we do it online, and then they give the evidence that they've got, if they've got the evidence beforehand, because sometimes people will get the evidence while they're drawing.
Yeah.
Others will just do the drawing, and that's fine. I'm, as I say, I'm fairly easygoing. If they only get the drawing, that's fine. So if they have the mediumship, then they can go back into it, into the link, and see what they get then. So that would be something that I would do with newcomers. But this is something that you can do an awful lot by yourself. As I said, try to improve whatever drawing skills you have. If you're doing stickmen, believe me, it can happen. because there is actually, if you can't get yourself to the SNUI, there is all sorts on the internet, on the YouTubes. There's so many now different how to draw this, that, and the other out there that you can self-teach yourself. If it's not possible for, to get on the SNUI or this sort of learning platform. The problem with that is, I suppose, is the motivation to keep going. And that's what you get from joining together with other people. A nice little group, and non-critical. I don't allow egos or anything, because we're all in the same boat. We're all developing. There are no stars in that sense. And as I mentioned before, it isn't just about the drawing. Okay, I have the drawing there, and that helps me in that sense, because I feel Spirit wants me to use it. But you don't. It isn't a prerequisite. You don't have to be able to draw in the way that I do to be able to do the Spirit portraits. And because what you're doing, all you've got time for is doing the outlines. So you do the side of the face and the hair on the top, and then you can get the personality even with a few lines.
Yeah.
So people don't. No, Laurie, don't tell yourself that you can't draw. Everybody has the ability to be able to draw. It's having the motivation. I honestly do believe that, because I've seen it. I've seen students that have come. One in particular started off drawing stickmen. He's now going to go for his certificate in Spirit Art. And that shows you how much. But he has tried so hard, and this is where it comes in. This is Spirit working with him. He doesn't just come to the classes. He will be practicing how to draw. He has this interest. It's something that he's always wanted to do. So my admiration of what he's been able to accomplish from more or less zero, it just shows you what Spirit can do, and that's wonderful. That's where the magic comes in.
Yeah, and that reflects
You can do it too. I have faith. You can do it too.
I'll have a go.
Paul, this as well.
Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, indeed.
But isn't that true though for all forms of mediumship? We've been having discussions of late, and one of the big questions is from lots of people, no matter what the discipline, is how can I improve? And I do have a little bit of a stock answer at the moment: is don't be a 90-minute spiritualist. Don't be just go in the church, go, here I am, I'm wonderful, everything's lovely, love, love, love. Walk out the door and go, right, where's that person? And just bring this into your life, because that's what it's about. And finding those passions. Because once we link our experience and our link with Spirit to what really fires us, like you say, doors are
automatically seem to open. It's just strange. I mean, and you find sometimes that you go looking in a different direction, and it seems to get a bit stuck, and you don't seem to. And that is, that should tell us, shouldn't it? But, sometimes we think, oh no, I want to do that. For the spirituality, it's just doors have opened. And even though, like with the Spirit Art, I kind of came to a standstill probably for about 7 years. Once, because I started off and I had a lot of support, and then the circumstances changed, and I kind of slipped into the teaching of it. But even with that, with doing the teaching, that helped my art. Because I had to sort of think about, well, how, if I didn't know how to draw, how would I teach this to somebody else? So you have to sort of look at it more as a mechanical way of drawing, which is not something I would normally do. But it has been very educational for me in that sense, and it's taught me, because I'm not mathematical at all. And so it has improved my work, because I've been trying to help other people. And that's what they say, don't they? That Spirit doesn't leave you empty-handed. You always get something back. And so I, as much as I give out, I get it back again.
Brilliant. That is so lovely. I could sit and learn from you, Cathy. I find some people I may struggle, but yeah, you've just got this presence, and even if it were Matchstick Men, that's fine.
Oh, fine.
Lowry, enjoy it. There you go. I can channel Lowry.
Yeah.
There we go. That'll do for a start.
Yeah.
Cathy, what a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. I can, as I said, a few of our mutual friends kept saying, "Oh, you must get Cathy on," and now I fully understand the Cathy experience. So
well, thank you for having me. I was very dubious at first, but as you could tell in my messages on Facebook, I kind of talked myself into it, didn't I? When I responded. That's a go. Eventually decided, oh, well, I guess I could have a go at that. Well, it has been really pleasant, really enjoyable, not at all scary, as I thought it might have been, So thank you very much for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you, everybody who's joined us tonight. And again, thank you to those who may catch up on this later. Where were you? What was so important? You couldn't be here, but never mind. Thank you, everybody. Next week's Lyceum night is yet to be organised. We do have a physical dem actually in the church. So on my second in charge, I haven't asked them yet if they will host the Lyceum night. I'll just drop that in on an email and then run away giggling. But in the meantime, Cathy, thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
For what you brought, it's been a sheer joy to be in your company. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we say good night to. Oh yes, sorry. Hello.
No, it's fine. I was thinking, Cathy. Someone's
Paul. Well,
maybe.
Yeah. Jen Stevenson's just asking about the website. If you go on the event on the church page that I've shared for tonight, there is a link on there as well. But I'll just see if I can get one up very quickly. With me. Where are we? I know it's here. No, wrong one. There we go. That's wonderful. Got it. Copy. Jen, I'm going to be sending you a bill for secretarial duties here, my love. Oh, hello. I've lost everything there. And there we go. There's a link in the website. So on the comments. So please go and have a look at that because it's beautiful, 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 beautiful. Cathy, I know it's 10 o'clock with you. So thank you for your time. It's much appreciated. And look forward to hearing more of your work. And one day we have this really weird world now, don't we, where we meet people online and then one day we meet them in person. It's like,
yeah, like today.
I know you, but I don't know you.
Yeah.
So thank you, Jen. Yes, you can be a secretary for me. There has been talk about getting a secretary. Anyway, stop waffling, Lawrence, and wish everybody a wonderful, peaceful night wherever you are. Thank you.